Look at her arm. Caitlin Clark has just 8 non-technical free throws in her last 12 quarters of play. They seemingly hate her.
The footage circulating right now from the Fever's win over the Chicago Sky is not a highlight reel. It is not a crossover clip or a logo 3 or an assist that made the crowd lose their minds. It is a close-up shot of Caitlin Clark's forearm. And what is on that forearm should not be there after a professional basketball game. Scratch marks. The kind left by fingernails. The kind you get when a defender cannot stay in front of you with their feet.
The game that Djonai Carrington had circled on her calendar and wanted the world to see happen tonight. And how did it turn out? Caitlin Clark had 37 points, 10 assists, 8 threes, and we got this lovely reaction. But I want to point out something that happened in the game. Some of the Chicago Sky, including Djonai Carrington, to me, were looking for a fight this game. And Caitlin, instead of talking about it in the media, just did it with her basketball skills. And this is one of the plays that happened.
Indiana can regain the lead. Clark, another step back 3. Yes! And a little bit of passion afterwards.
You love it. This is...
So Djonai purposely runs into Clark, and then Clark just waves her off. Just waves her off. You can tell that Clark was just over that storyline and with that rivalry.
Cannot contest your shot without fouling in an obvious way, and so reaches for whatever is left available. Grab the jersey, grab the arm, dig the nails in and hold on. Hope the whistle stays quiet and the ref looks the other way. That footage went viral immediately. But here is the part that makes the story genuinely impossible to look away from once you actually put the two things side by side. In the same stretch of basketball where her arm is getting clawed up game after game, Caitlin Clark has produced more 30-point, 10-assist performances than the entire rest of the WNBA combined across the full history of the league.
Took the ref 30 business days to call this foul on Caitlin Clark. But of course they want to demonize Clark and be like, she was overreacting. She's the most fouled player in the league. What are we doing? Why was the whistle not blown right here? Grabbing her, blow the fucking whistle, man. And then she had to do all this again to finally put her hand up. Like, what are we doing, man? Enrique's ugly ass falling down all over the place, foul call. You look at Asia Wilson, foul call, but it takes the ref looking direct. Look, why is her hand not up? Takes the ref 30 business days to call this. But let's demonize Clark. No, all these players fear Caitlin Clark. They fear for their lives when this woman is on the court and they have to hack her, tackle her. I done see some tackle Clark in this game and everything because she's the 11th best guard and we're gonna guard her this way though. Like, you guys are fucking ridiculous, man. It's like the refs just want Clark to get beat up and hacked. These people just want her to just play through it, and it's like, it's not perfect.
Every player, every season, every decade of professional women's basketball. Combined, she has more, by herself, while absorbing contact that would make most players think twice before attacking the paint again. The scratches on her arm tell you how hard people are trying to stop her. The record book tells you in exact numbers how well that is actually working. And right now, those two things sitting right next to each other tell a story that the league office cannot afford to keep ignoring. Fresh footage from the Fever's win over Chicago started making rounds immediately after the final buzzer. Not a game-winning shot. Not a signature moment from Clark's 37-point performance. A close-up of her forearm showing scratch marks, the kind of marks you only get from someone's fingernails raking across skin with enough pressure to leave a visible trail behind. The immediate reaction from anyone who saw it was not complicated. Those marks do not appear because of incidental contact in a physical basketball game.
That Caitlin Clark got fouled and the ref never called it. There's a moving screen. She's moving all over the place. Hits her with the shoulder like always. Look at this. Fouls her, holding her, and fouls the crap out of her. No foul. Look at this. She got fouled the whole game. They didn't call this a foul. Look at this one. Like, her body's all over her. How is that not a foul? Look at this one. Cardosa swipes her once, twice, just tries to grab her. Can you imagine being fouled the entire game? Every time you hit half court, every time you dribble, every time you drive. Look at this. Sheldon clearly has her hand on Caitlin Clark's shoulder when she's shooting it. They even showed a replay. It's exactly where I thought it was. Watch this. Her arm is on Caitlin Clark's shoulder the whole time.
Incidental contact leaves bruises. It leaves floor burns. It does not leave parallel scratch lines across a forearm that look like someone gripped and dragged their fingers across the skin while holding on. Those marks tell a specific story about a specific defensive strategy. If you cannot stay in front of her, grab what you can reach and hope the official on that side of the floor is looking somewhere else. What made the footage land so hard is the tweet that went alongside it. 8 non-technical free throws in her last 12 quarters of play.
For this WNBA player to be suspended after she intentionally pokes Caitlin Clark in the eye, you can see here, she misses the ball with an open palm and then hones it into this little sharp, pointy hand and jabs it right into her eyeball. One more time, right in the eye. And believe it or not, she didn't even get a foul for this. It was so intense as well that as the game progressed, you could tell she was getting a black eye just from the hit. There is no doubt in my mind that what this WNBA player did was 100% intentional, and honestly, I think it should have a huge suspension as well.
8. Across 12 full quarters of professional basketball, the most physically handled guard in the league has been sent to the free throw line a handful of times. That is nearly 3 full games worth of action. That is not a small sample. That is a documented pattern sitting right there in the official box scores for anyone willing to look. The footage itself is not even the most damning part of the story. The most damning part is that those scratch marks exist because plays were happening that should have drawn whistles and did not. The scratches are the physical evidence left behind by officiating that was not there when it was supposed to be. It is easy to scroll past a statistic without letting it actually land. So slow down for a second and think about what 8 free throws in 12 quarters actually means in the context of professional basketball. Free throws exist in this sport for one reason. The rulebook says that certain contact crosses a line from incidental into illegal, and when that line gets crossed, the player who was fouled gets uncontested shots from the line as compensation.
This wasn't called a foul. This wasn't called a flagrant foul. There was no whistle blown on this play. This play never went under review. This play has absolutely nothing to do with basketball. As you can see, the ball is all the way over there. This is just someone getting mauled. The WNBA is stupid and is not a serious organization.
That is the entire purpose of the free throw. It is the sport's built-in mechanism for protecting players from being physically overpowered rather than defended. It only works if the officials are applying the standard consistently. Clark is, by virtually every available measure, the most physically targeted guard in the WNBA right now. Game after game, there is footage of jersey grabs, arm holds, off-ball contact away from the play entirely, and contact on shooting motions that in other matchups and against other players draws an immediate whistle. Against Clark, across 12 consecutive quarters, that entire category of officiating produced 8 free throw attempts total. Commentators tracking specific missed calls from the Chicago game alone compiled 10 separate plays where Clark absorbed contact that should have drawn a foul and did not. Holds while she was setting up her shot, a shoulder driven into her while she was dribbling, full body contact on drives where the defender made no attempt to play the ball.
These are plays we've seen from Djonai.
These are the plays. Look. Yanking her hair down. Oh, that's a basketball play, y'all. And tell me if you notice a common denominator. Look. Basketball play, look. Basketball play. I didn't know you can rip somebody's hair out. That's a basketball, look. Ankle injury. That's a basketball play, y'all. Look, poke right in the eye. It's not this many basketball plays in the world. It's not this many coincidences in the world. She went up like this and came down like this and poked an eye. Knocked her all upside her head. Now she got see. Like, this is what you call a track record. Look, not even going for the ball. Like, come on.
But that's what Djonai Carrington does.
And we know, and that's been part of the problem, because we've been telling y'all, this is what she does and has a track record.
Each one individually might be explainable as a judgment call that went the wrong direction. All 10 of them from a single game, stacked on top of a 12-quarter free throw total of 8, stops being a series of individual judgment calls and starts being a pattern that requires a different explanation. The inverse relationship is the part that should trouble anyone watching closely. The harder the physicality gets, the quieter the whistle becomes. That is close to the exact opposite of how officiating is supposed to function in competitive sport. DJ Carrington's name keeps appearing in this specific conversation for reasons that go beyond a single game. Fans flagged her physicality, with Clark going all the way back to a playoff series where an uncalled swipe near Clark's face went viral for the exact same reason this new footage is now going viral. The play happened. The whistle stayed silent. The internet slowed the footage down the next morning and showed everyone what was missed in real time.
Caitlin Clark now has more 30-point, 10-assist games in her career, with 5, than the rest of the WNBA has combined in league history. Let that sink in. I'm gonna have a sip of coffee while that sinks in. Yeah, yeah, by herself, she's got more 30-point, 10-assist games by herself than the entire league combined. Entire league history combined.
That exact sequence has repeated itself multiple times now. In the Chicago game, Carrington's approach was visible enough that commentators pointed it out while it was happening live. She ran directly into Clark on a play with no basketball justification. Clark's response was not to engage, not to say anything, not to let the provocation pull her off her game. She waved her off. One dismissive gesture and then right back to work. The body language of someone who had made a decision before tip-off that the sideshow was not worth her attention. What made the context of this game particularly notable was the pre-game narrative Carrington had built herself, the white privilege post, the back and forth with analysts on social media, the public argument that had been running for days before tip-off. She had made this game feel like something beyond basketball, and then Clark walked into that building in Chicago and scored 37 points while Carrington was circling the court looking for a fight that Clark simply refused to have. The broader footage that fans have been compiling of Carrington's track record with Clark is not ambiguous. Hair pulling, ankle targeting, contact that has no relationship to where the basketball is. It is not this many basketball plays in the world. It is not this many coincidences in the world. At some point, the track record becomes the argument on its own. Among all the missed calls that have circulated from Clark's recent games, one play stands apart from the rest in terms of what it actually shows and what it says about how the officiating is currently functioning around her.
So, look at this. This is where you're like, this is loser shit. Oh, I'm going to pretend to flop. Djonai just shoved Caitlin. She literally just walked into Caitlin and shoved her. Caitlin dribbled the ball and she just shoved her. And she just goes that. Caitlin didn't even throw her head back. And then waits for Caitlin, like, starts shit talking, throws her head back. Caitlin doesn't see her, and then goes and does it again. Like, that is the most loser shit ever. That is the most loser shit ever. Like, and the worst part is that Djonai checked into the game while Caitlin Clark was, while Caitlin was on the bench, and Djonai started off really well. Really well, Djonai started. As soon as Caitlin Clark, as soon as Caitlin Clark checks in the game, Djonai suddenly is like, I don't care about basketball anymore. I don't care about basketball. The only thing that I care about is, can I go and clip
The defender goes for the ball. Her palm is open as she extends her arm toward Clark's face. She misses the ball completely. And then, in what the footage shows clearly when slowed down, the open hand tightens into something more specific. A pointed, concentrated jab that drives directly into Clark's eye socket. Not a glancing blow from an errant follow-through. A jab, aimed, into the eye. The play never drew a foul call. It was never flagged as a flagrant. It never went under review. The game continued as if the contact was either too minor to address or simply never happened at all. As the game progressed, commentators noted that Clark appeared to be developing a black eye from the impact in real time, which means the contact was visible and significant enough to produce a physical result that lasted through the remainder of the game. An injury to the eye of the most watched player in the sport, caused by contact that officials on the floor chose not to address at any point during the game. That play by itself would be a story. In the context of everything else, the scratch marks, the 12-quarter free throw total, the history of uncalled contact with this specific player, it becomes something harder to explain away. Contact does not have to be malicious to be dangerous. But contact that consistently goes uncalled is contact that consistently gets repeated because nothing in the officiating response to it suggests it should stop. While all of this has been unfolding on the floor, while the arm is getting scratched and the whistle is staying quiet, the record book has been...
Now, it is no way y'all trying to talk about Caitlin Clark shooting 13 free throws. The same people that call Asia Special Whistle Wilson the GOAT, that shoots 50 million free throws a game. The same people that glaze Angel Reese, the free throw merchant that has to flop to get points because she can't shoot. Free throw merchant, but Clark got 13 free throws in a loss. But also, when Angel Reese gets a double-double and has a good game in a loss, it's glazed. But when Clark has a good game in a loss, they want to shit on it and do the opposite and be the goofies that they are, man. Goofy, man. Clark is the most fouled player in the league. She got the whistle that she deserved today versus the Dallas Wings, man. She should be shooting free throws like that every single game because people just hold on to her and try to foul her all the time because there ain't no other...
keeping its own account. And what it has recorded during this exact stretch of time is genuinely without precedent in the history of this league. Most 30-point, 10-assist games in WNBA history, Caitlin Clark has 5. The rest of the league's entire history combined has 4. Read that again slowly because the numbers require a moment to actually process. Every player across every season, across every year the WNBA has existed, all of them combined, 4 total 30-10 games. Clark, by herself, in a fraction of the career length those other players had to accumulate their totals, has 5. That is not a hot stretch against soft competition on a favorable part of the schedule. A 5-game sample of 30-point, 10-assist performances is a statement about a level of offensive dominance that this sport at the point guard position has genuinely never seen before. You cannot manufacture those numbers through scheduling luck or defensive neglect. You have to produce them possession by possession against...
I really think that the referees are in on it. Meaning, like, I think the referees potentially being directed by the commissioner are in on really screwing with this chick and really trying to, I don't know if run her out of the league or make her look stupid or what. Am I the only one that thinks this? She's on her 6th or 7th, I think at 8. You get suspended for a game. She picked up her 8th, but then, you know, they quickly reversed it.
All she got to become is lesbian. They'll quit.
Well, but what if she doesn't want to be lesbian?
Well, then she's going to have to get run off.
Defenses that are specifically preparing for you every single night. The 37-point, 10-assist double-double against Chicago happened on the same night the scratch footage went viral. Those two things existing simultaneously, the marks on her arm and the history being made with the basketball, is the central contradiction that makes this current stretch so difficult to simply file away as another chapter in a contentious season. She and Kelsey Mitchell combined for 67 points between them in that game, the top offensive output in a league she is simultaneously receiving the least officiating protection in. The record book does not editorialize, it just keeps the numbers. The free throw disparity becomes significantly harder to explain when you place Clark's numbers next to the numbers of other high-usage guards in the same league, being officiated in the same games under the same rulebook. Commentators have flagged the specific contrast repeatedly. Other guards drawing calls in contact situations that look identical to plays, Clark absorbs without a whistle. Players whose offensive games are built around drawing fouls getting to the line at rates that reflect the contact they actually take. The standard for what constitutes a foul appearing to shift depending on who is on the receiving end of the contact being evaluated. One tweet that circulated widely after the Chicago game summarized the frustration precisely. It took the ref business days to call this foul on Caitlin Clark. The clip attached showed contact that in a different matchup would have drawn an immediate and uncontroversial whistle. Against Clark, It required the kind of patience from the officiating crew that would be unremarkable if the contact itself were borderline. It was not borderline. The fairness question that emerges from this pattern is not a small one. If the standard for what counts as a
no foul called, so she could get hit, she could get assaulted, but they only call fouls if it's on her for not doing anything. That's what I've learned. Look at this. So Angel Reese could hit Caitlin Clark in the throat, but Caitlin Clark can't get near Angel Reese. What about this double standard? So she could elbow Caitlin Clark in the chest to create space, but it's a foul on Caitlin Clark, but Caitlin Clark slightly moves her arm and the girl flops, and it's a foul on Caitlin Clark. So it's
foul is being applied differently to Clark than to other players in comparable situations. That is not a minor officiating inconsistency. That is a structural problem with how the most watched player in the league is being protected by the people whose job is to apply the rules consistently to everyone on the floor. Structural problems in officiating do not self-correct. They spread. Coaches in professional sports watch film. Every team in this league has an analytics staff tracking which defensive strategies produce results and which ones do not. And when the film consistently shows that grabbing, scratching, and holding Clark goes unpunished across game after game, other coaching staffs draw the obvious conclusion. If it works and nobody blows the whistle, put it in the game plan. That is how a single team's defensive approach becomes a league-wide strategy, not through any coordinated conspiracy, but through the rational, professional logic of coaches doing their jobs and seeing that a particular kind of contact consistently goes uncalled against a specific player. Once that conclusion makes it into film sessions around the league, the bad habit stops being isolated and starts being systematic. The cost of this spreading does not show up in any individual box score. It shows up in the progressive normalization of a defensive approach that has nothing to do with basketball and everything to do with physical attrition. If you cannot stop her by playing defense, you try to wear her down. If wearing her down with contact does not draw a whistle, you keep doing it. And if the league office does not intervene, the players absorbing the contact have no institutional backstop protecting them from whatever the next escalation looks like. What is remarkable about Clark's response to all of it is that she has not adjusted her game to accommodate the lack of protection. She has not started pulling back off drives to protect herself. She has not stopped attacking the spots on the floor where the grabbing happens most. If anything, she keeps going back to those exact same spots with more aggression than before, as if the scratched arm is just information she has processed and decided does not change the game plan. The question that the league office has not publicly answered is a straightforward one. At what point does a documented pattern of uncalled physical contact against a specific player require an institutional response? The individual plays are on tape, the free throw numbers are in the box scores, the scratch marks are in the footage, the missed calls are being compiled by fans, analysts, and commentators across every platform. None of this is contested information that requires investigation to uncover. It is sitting in the publicly available record of every game she has played during this stretch. What a consistent officiating review of these games would reveal is not difficult to project based on what is already visible. Contact that drew no whistle in real time would be identifiable as foul-worthy in slow motion. Patterns of which players are repeatedly involved in these situations would be visible across multiple game samples. The free throw disparity between Clark and comparable high-usage guards in the league would be quantifiable in a way that makes the inconsistency impossible to explain through normal game-to-game variance alone. The broader implication for the league is not a small one. Clark is the most watched player in the history of the WNBA. The attention she generates, the viewership numbers, the ticket sales, the television audiences for playoff games, all of it has been documented and is continuing to grow. A league that allows its most watched player to be physically targeted in ways that go consistently uncorrected is not protecting its product. It is allowing it to be damaged. And the longer that goes unaddressed, the harder the conversation about how it was allowed to happen becomes for the people who had the authority to intervene and chose not to. Two images are sitting side by side right now, and they tell the whole story without requiring a single additional word of commentary. The first is Caitlin Clark's forearm after the Chicago game. scratch marks from fingernails left by defenders who have run out of legitimate ways to slow her down. The physical evidence of contact that was happening in plain sight on national television while the whistle stayed in the referee's pocket. The second image is the record book. 5 30-point, 10-assist games in WNBA history, more than every other player in the entire history of this league combined. Both of those things existing simultaneously in the same stretch of basketball, that is the story. The marks on her arm show you how hard some people are trying to stop her. The record book shows you in exact numbers how well it is working. She gets knocked around, gets up, and does it again the very next possession. Every time a defender decides the answer is to grab what they can reach instead of playing defense with their feet, she responds by adding another line to a historical record that nobody in this league has ever come close to matching. The league office can choose to review this pattern and address it properly. Or it can keep letting the free throw numbers sit where they are while the scratch marks keep appearing in the post-game footage. Either way, the record book is not waiting for anyone to catch up. It just keeps running. And right now, it belongs entirely to her.